and it's got real low carved stone steps that kind of fan out from the central area where these mountains and stairways lead down to. And in the center, there's a sort of gazebo where you can see a staircase set into the middle of the gazebo that leads down further, and there are people coming in and out of it. You follow the stairs down past this what had once been a historic location of old court cases back during the founding of Hearthvine, down into the stairwell of a grand hall where it stretches a good 200 feet down to the end and goes a good 80 feet up above your heads. There's a huge mosaic across the ceiling on this curved depiction of what looks to be a retelling of Saint Ava rising up out of the water with a snake wrapped around her arm. And as you follow it down, you can see where she's met with a depiction of somebody with a bowl and holding it up for her to take the poison from the snake. And then that same bowl later on being kind of disseminated out amongst a bunch of people. And on either side of the hallway, there are large open doorways into what you can see to be public courtrooms. Many of them seem to be in session, a couple of them are not. And you walk past about a dozen of these, wondering if there's a hall or something you're supposed to go meet this person at, when somebody in gold armor approaches you guys, flanked on either side by another set of people with gold armor. And it's not the person you'd seen before. It's a woman, bald, shaved head, looks to be a half-elf, probably of half wild elf descent. They've got very clean shaved head and bright golden dazzling armor, and she looks you all up and down and raises an eyebrow, and then says, "You all clean up quite well."
And it gives her a basic salute and nods to her.
Babette gives a very Alvalian bow, but nothing too fancy.
Yeah, Belle kind of gives a bow and then just nods.
Captain, good that you would be a little lost. We will not be in the public courtrooms today. We've dedicated a private room for us to the bearing of what it was that happened on the island.
Mm-hmm.
We've already done and conducted interviews with a few of the others. You can see sitting along some benches further down the hall are the Wildavirians that you had seen before, and standing up, kind of like pacing back and forth, is Bryson. He notices you all and bows his head, and the soldiers kind of flank on either side of you as this Lion's Guard woman takes you down the hall towards the rest of them. And they say they're going to finish conducting up the interviews one at a time. So, get comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
To pass by them, since she does have one sleeve, like one.
Is Eliza there, or did she just drop you guys off?
Oh,
Up to you, really.
To you.
yeah, if you want to wait with us.
Hmm?
Yeah, it was kind of up to you. If
Yeah.
you want to just wait in the car or come with us inside the courtroom and wait outside on the benches.
I feel like she would have come in with you, but when they said to get comfortable, she would have maybe I'm thinking about going to the library while I wait.
Ooh.
So I think she's gonna do that.
Mhm. I'll pick you up at the library once we're done.
Mm-hmm.
Easy enough. Royal Library is actually there as well, and it has access to a teleportation pad that can take you to the Arcanum, the floating school above you. You're 15 minutes away from having access to pretty much any book you might want. Go ahead and have you actually roll me an investigation check, and then we'll get back to seeing how your research went.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hold on. I'm sorry. I don't have Foundry open.
Oh, take your time, no rush.
Also remember to add that 1d4.
Yeah. Was her modifier 11 for investigation? Or 10?
It's pretty high.
And
She has a 20 in...
11.
Yeah.
Because I
yeah.
have a 10 arcane, so she has 11.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So...
So I can roll it, Sarah, if you want me to, real quick. So me and Hunter are both in Foundry right now.
Yeah, you guys can.
Yeah, because Foundry's being a bitch lately, so.
Yeah, we can't really
My
pull up our character
computer
sheets,
is
so.
being the worst lately. Like, it's so slow.
Yeah,
Andre itself is also having some issues at the moment, so.
Yeah, it's long load up time, so don't worry about it. There's just something going on with the something on the server itself with internet.
31.
Hell yeah.
Alright, we'll get back to that.
Beautiful.
Eliza learns everything there is to know about everything.
Yeah. It's... I think also, if you might have gotten a pet too that helped you with investigation, if I remember correctly.
32.
So yeah.
Alright.
Yeah. I would have given a flex of solidarity to the Wildevere, and I think I was like, fuck I with the...
Yeah, they're like lined up at a bench, and as you sit down, you see as doors open at the end of like the hall next to them. It's just a singular door, and not like the grand open archways that you'd pass by coming up to the end of this hallway where it meets at a T. There's a singular wooden door at the end of it, and the door has a bench on either side of the hall. And the three Wildeverians are sitting up on it, waiting, and pacing in front of it is Bryce. And then whenever you like take your seats down, because they say get comfortable, and you see as Eliza says she's going to go do some research, and she turns and leaves. Just as she does, the door opens at the end of it as you guys take your seat, and you see as Val comes walking out, and they don't make eye contact with any of you as they just walk right out of the building. And the the bald lady, she goes, Just so you all understand that vows of silence do not mean that we cannot get our answers.
Mm. Yeah, Honey will wince at that.
Alright, you're up. She points at the Kinku purse, and they pop off the shoulder and kind of flutter a little bit down, like a slight little glide to the floor. And
Like a chicken.
You see as just walk in, and the door closes behind them. And it's about 15 minutes before the door opens, and they come walking out. And the big one is Colin. He's called in, and he so the Inku purse just goes and leaves to go outside, and Bryce says, "I asked to be last."
Admirable.
Well, I just hate interviews.
Oh, that too.
I thought about your job offer
Mm-hmm.
and spoke to some of the others about it. Hard to find work during war. We'd like to take your offer.
Yeah, she looks momentarily surprised, but then she'll give him a very respectable bow. We can discuss a little bit more later, if you wish.
Of course, that is assuming that we don't find ourselves at the other end of an Arvelian jail cell.
Of course.
I'm certain we will be on the right side of justice.
Of course, exactly. Well, we are going to be doing some updating on our paperwork anyways, so we will be at the guild hall maybe throughout the week or so. I can give you an update appropriately, and then she'll just arrange a time, because she learned in Aviel you have to be very cordial with your sending spell.
And
You're all grown up.
and good, and you give some details about the atrium, and says that he's certain that's hard to miss. And then by the time y'all are done with this conversation, he's been called in for the interview, and he goes in. 15 minutes later, comes out looking relieved, and waves and says that he'll get back a hold of you afterwards.
Alright.
And he'll be waiting for your message.
Mhm.
And after that, you, Dr. Janasi, up next.
She automatically backs straight and just very regally steps in, using all her training as an oracle to boot.
Hey. This room, you can see that it's a simple office. There's two wooden chairs on the opposite side of a nice ornate desk. Bookshelves line the walls, two windows, but they appear to have bars on the other side of them. And sitting on the other end of this desk is the same captain that you'd seen before. The same golden armor, and he stands up as you enter into the room, and gestures to the seat.
she'll polite bow and then sit down.
He
Arms.
sits down at the same moment that you do. I do apologize for all the formality on this, but understand. We would like to have a clear picture.
Of course, you're just doing your job, and she'll fold her hands nicely in front on the table.
You see next to your hands there's like a little placard that's like iron pressed, and it says Captain Horace de Onatete.
Okay.
Onatet. Sorry.
Alright, would she know how to address captains, or just...
You know that it's usually just safe to refer to somebody as their rank, and you'll be fine.
Alright, okay. Whenever you're ready, Captain.
From what we've gathered, there was a sizable force that you went up against, and you and your allies from Stars and Sea Society.
That
It is the name of your group, correct?
That is correct.
You were there and rendered significant aid.
We do what we can.
In fact, as the others put it, if it were not for you, none of them would have survived. Sounds like it was your plan and your brave efforts that ensured that so many made it out of there.
It was a collaboration. We worked with as many people as possible to get the best result for success.
And before proceeding, I would like to preempt this question here by saying that your efforts were valiant.
She'll nod to that.
Now, he dips his quill into this pot next to him. He sits on the end of it, and he looks up at you as the tip of the quill meets the top of it, and he says, "What end are you in this Griffin's Perch?
So what?
Business or pleasure?
Ah,
You understand that you are currently under compulsion to tell the truth. Any lie that you do say will be recognized as one."
okay. She'll nod. Well, in a way it was kind of both. An acquaintance, a friend of a friend, who me and shit, I remembered Lib would also be here too. But we've been just showing around the city, kind of helping each other out for the week. Suggested that we go to the Griffin's Perch, and we did. And at the bar, we met up with another part of our group who was there a few days prior. After some discussion, we found out that my friend got married, and the wife-to-be asked for us to be witnesses to the event. So,
Wife-to-be, would this happen to be stereo wheeled?
that is correct.
That connects a few dots. There's this little scratches across the top of the paper. And And who precisely were the other members that you met up with? The ones you said that were there prior? What were their names?
So, is he talking about the ones that, with the rest of the group?
Yeah, you just said that you met up with a few of your allies
Yeah.
that were already there for a few days prior.
Yeah, that's kind of, I know lawyer talk is very specific, so I just want to make sure she would, get this right. She would, just mentioned Sailwolf Lord, and then Arthur Wardstock, and Babette de Visage.
Okay. Now, it was a organized effort. Do you have any prior experience facing off against this particular organization?
Not that I know of right off the bat.
Do you know about it?
But
Are there any particular insignias, trademarks, sayings, or mottos?
the only thing I could recognize was just a lot of them wore red headbands. What?
We have heard similar reports from the others.
Other than that?
Exciting, but frustratingly vague in being able to identify.
Can tell you, I mean, I don't know if you want me to say it or you should just wait for the appropriate people who know more about it, but it was told to me that it was under the banner of Fox. What that might mean, I am uncertain. It could be them proper, or it could be somebody else posing as them. I am very unaware of Avalian's current state of events.
There are many, many rights and freedoms that we value highly. One of them is the right to the freedom of our voice. Say what we think. And not have that ability hampered. There are some, however, who believe that their voices are not heard. That right has somehow been taken from them. These people refer to themselves as Fox, believing themselves to have been attempted to have been made voiceless.
I see. Very interesting.
And you have never encountered Fox before this moment.
To my knowledge, no.
And could you specify, are there any particular weapons, items, or implements, tools that they used that struck you as particularly odd, that stood out of place?
She will just state that, yeah, there were huge-ass Gatling guns, stationed right over there. And then, for right off the bat, it just took a lot of time and effort. They were welded on to crates. Having that go under the radar seems very interesting. But everything else seemed to be quickly made. And she explains the Molotovs and the trap that she had tripped into. And then, of course, the big, I guess, I'm trying to think of an Avalian term, but I can't right off the moment, but the large reactor. Nuke.
Reactor, you say?
I think it just blew up. I mean, I've never seen a bomb before. but that was something. I don't know. I mean, I know.
Did you get an eye on this reactor?
Unfortunately, no. I know of its existence, but my whole mission was going to the ship proper.
And who outlined that mission for you? Who came up with this plan?
It was a coordination between me, Zale, and Arthur.
Perfect. And I think I know who I would like to speak to next.
Okay.
Stands up. I would ask that you remain and not stray too far until we finish the interviews with the rest of your allies. I have some things I would like to discuss with each of you as a group afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Alright. She'll nod and calmly step out.
They open the door, and the bald-headed, half-elven lion's guard, she holds it for a moment, walks in after you, and then she comes back out a moment later and goes, Dale of Wolfwood?
So we get up and proceed in.
Well, you see this study hall office, 2 chairs on the opposite side of a wooden carved desk. Golden lion's guard pauldron and blonde windswept hair of this almost paragon of knightliness standing on the opposite side of this desk. Well, he's sitting at the moment, but as you approach, he stands up and puts his quill inside of this holder on the side, and he extends an open hand and gestures towards this chair on the left.
Does a
Please,
bow.
take a seat.
Thank you, Captain. And he sits down. And on desk.
Okay, and I assume you're choosing to fail this effect, right?
Oh yeah, well, Zell is choosing.
Yeah.
I am not
And
going against it.
you can slightly feel the hair stand up on the back of your arms, and you comfortable. And he sits down at the same moment that you do, and he says, I heard that you personally fought in the final battle to seize the airship. Is this so?
I did, Captain.
Several of the other guardsmen remarked highly upon your proficiency in battle. You have training. Pulls out the quill. Sees he dips it in the ink pot.
I do. My adopted father taught me.
So, no professional training, organization prior to your time with the Stars and Sea Society?
No, sir.
That is the name of the organization that you are part of, yes.
Yes, sir.
And scritches across the paper. There was a reactor that was responsible for this explosion. From what we have heard, it is something beyond the capabilities of this organization that you faced up against. Are you familiar with this group that you faced?
No, sir, this is my first interaction with them.
And what about the technology that you witnessed them possessing? The source of this explosion, this reactor?
Highly.
Are you familiar with things like that?
Mm, that one's hard, sir. I know a lot about precursor technology. That was far advanced. I didn't know exactly what caused it to explode. Well, I can tell that whoever, in a way, messed with it caused a natural explosion, a natural bomb. But if I had more time, I could diagnose what exactly it was and how it came to be there, but I didn't have enough time regarding the dire situation I was in.
Oh, there were lives at stake. It's not. So you would say that for the Stars and Sea Society, you render your aid as something of a precursor analyst. Would that be an accurate way of describing your responsibilities within this group?
Yes, sir.
Do you often find necessary in the fields of analyzing precursor technology a necessity for combat? Or is this a mere lucky proficiency? Do not miss to question too hard. Do not misunderstand me here. I understand that oftentimes we are startled and surprised ourselves by our own capabilities. But there was more than one remark upon your abilities in combat. It seems odd for somebody that does not trade in death be so proficient in it.
Yes, and third, you have valid questions. No, precursor versions in the Korean coast, since there's no real law, can be, and usually in case of there's a lot of unknowns. Some creatures, entities might take over these ruins, these precursor ruins, and sometimes you have to fight to survive. And sometimes there's also pirates. Thankfully, I didn't have to run to any pirate in my research in precursor ruins and exploration precursor ruins, but I have faced off against monster creatures. So the combat expertise kind of comes with the job. The territory.
So, precursor hunting is not too different than alien adventuring, it would seem.
Very much so.
Well, that is certainly good to hear. But with current events going on, Arvel could use more noble and well-experienced adventurers. Even ones from far-off places such as the Coterie Coast. And this technology,
Yes, sir.
did it have any identifying marks on it? Anything else that stood out about it? Do you have a theory, perhaps, on what its intent or purpose might have been?
It's very highly advanced, but what I can gather from my knowledge is that it was some kind of reactor from a machine. but it was missing parts of it that caused it to fall into despair and explode. From my analogy and theory. I would say that whoever did such a thing was definitely highly intelligent. I don't know if that would narrow the margins, but it had to be someone who knowledge surpassed most common technological advances. Even precursor.
With such advanced things there, and it seeming so out of place from the usual equipment carried by those that were tampering with it, it is possible that it was not theirs to begin with. In such a case, perhaps. Well, I must ask, did you happen to get a look at anything else while you were there? The indication that perhaps this item had already been there? Perhaps not taken there by Vox.
Do not know, sir. That would be a good theory to look at. Because of how much of it weighed. It was weighing the tons. The other it was transferred there was already there to begin with. And then someone from again their technology of these Vox members seemed like had outside help. I do not know this outside help, but definitely someone knowledgeable about it, about the device already. With the reactor already. That is a good theory that it might have been already there on the island to begin with. It would make sense.
Well, it is one of many theories. In the end, all that matters is the evidence, and most of that lies at the bottom of the ocean, at the bottom of Lake Arvale. However, testimony is still useful in case future evidence comes around. I thank you for yours. I do think I know who I would like to question next. He stands up. Thank you for your time.
No problem, Captain. So we'll turn around and walk out.
And the bald-headed Lions Guard walks in, walks back out, and says, Arthur Wardstock. Stands up and he walks in. Door closes.
Hey, honey.
Yeah.
Hi, you okay?
Yeah, she's been sitting, like, beside the, like, not on the bench, but kind of just on the ground next to it, and she's just cuddling her owl. No better than yesterday. How about you?
Okay. Just... I don't know. Concern or missing was staring at you? Hope she's okay. She made it home safe.
Yeah. So... definitely, I guess the saying is it's out of left field. I don't even know where that origin is from. Grant told me about that a while back. She never really told me where it comes from. It sounds like a sport term, but I don't even know.
So kind of slowly, he's takes off the necklace with the ring, kind of holding it. Definitely was unexpected.
Seemed like the moment you're about to take your vows, something made sense to you. Care to share?
I think I'm starting to understand, or I have understand certain emotions. About caring,
Yeah.
love. I think trying to piece things together in my head. I think that realization, that moment,
Mm-hmm.
kind of put things in perspective for me.
Yeah. Love is one of the warmest emotions you can ever feel.
It's also the one that hurts the most sometimes.
Yeah.
And he kind of does like, he sits your thin on the ground, he kind of like pats your head, and he kind of just rubs your head a little bit,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like, doesn't say anything. Just kind of pats your head, rubs your head.
It's kind of a shame that Common only has one term of it. So many different languages have more, but
I don't think you know Elvish or Orcish. No, you knew Elvish actually.
mm-hmm.
I do like how it's said in Orcish. There's many ways to say it in Orcish.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Arthur has a good time in there.
Arthur can make any time a good time. And the only
That
way
is
he
true.
can possibly make it.
Whether it's a good time for the other person involved is always questionable.
Exactly.
That is true.
Yeah.
So, Babette, how did the talk with you and Liza go? She seemed pretty upset with you.
She just worries about me, is all.
Hmm.
Which, I mean, is a trend that's carried on since from childhood, so.
I mean, is that a two-way thing? She'll look a little bit over, still scritching her bird.
You know, I think it might be.
Okay.
That's good.
And you notice that Babette has been, like, incredibly kind of, like, she's been more subdued than usual.
Mm-hmm. Scary figuring out that you care about somebody and that they care about you back. A lot of uncertainty there. If you're going to do them proud, help them out, if you're going to accidentally hurt them unintentionally, intentionally.
I've already proven that I can hurt her unintentionally, so.
How so?
Well, you know. Just her existing around me apparently is bad.
I mean, as one fuck up to another fuck up, people will still love you, even though you make mistakes.
I mean, it seemed like both of you just walked into a bad circumstance. People make mistakes, or people just don't know something will end up blowing up in their face.
Babette kind of raises an eyebrow like, was that a fucking joke, Hanu? And that's what that eyebrow raise says to you.
Yeah, she just looks at you tired.
Mm-hmm.
She shrugs.
Don't... No, I was just saying, don't let it kind of harp on you too much. Kind of accept that she worries about you. I mean, she completely hated that about you, getting into danger. She wouldn't have not worried at all.
Yeah.
She doesn't harp on me because she doesn't like me. She harps on me because she does.
No, exactly. No, I'm saying you don't harp on your mistakes.
Sometimes
Mistakes can get you killed, so it's better to be hard on yourself.
Yeah.
They can, or they can lead you into lessons that you need to learn from life.
Honestly, some great inventions happen because of mistakes. Some avenues open because somebody made a mistake or said something by mistake, which caused an agreement to happen. They learn a different perspective of it. But,
So,
I don't know.
just kind of keep an open mind. They make a mistake.
Babette just kind of crosses her legs and leans back and just is,
Still kind of patting Hanu's head. He hasn't stopped. He's just like really absent-mindedly doing that now.
Yeah.
Kind of puts the ring back on his finger, on his hand.
Yeah.
Takes it off, puts it back, and then kind of sits.
There's been like some low-key tension that's been going on between her shoulders. It was very evident last night because it looked like she had told you one time that one of her uncles found a way to just keep adrenaline moving long after it probably should be recommended, and that seems to be gone, but there's still just like a taunt bow just in their shoulders. Just goes back to staring down at her owl and scratching it.
They're kind of waiting for Arthur in kind of silence.
Yeah. And she also, well, awkwardly, like, I don't know if we have Lib also being with us or not, but she would just pat Lib on the knee.
No. Let's just wait for Arthur.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody else have anything to say?
Yeah. And her statement of
45 minutes go by.
beautiful.
Oh god.
Yeah. Just for
Finally, the door opens.
What?
Or walks out. A person walks in, sits down at the bench, and like looks over at you guys and goes, "Yeah, so I kind of like that guy."
Hmm.
And then you hear as as Libby is called in, and she disappears, and she's in there for about 15 minutes. Or she comes out, just like looks at like Arthur, like, why the hell did that take you so long? and then the bald-headed Lions Guard woman comes out and goes, Babette le Visage?
That would be me. And she gets up and strolls into the room.
There we are. Okay, I think I can hear you now.
Oh.
Maybe.
Rachel, say something?
Can you hear me? You couldn't hear me
Now
at
I
first?
can.
Haha.
Now I can.
There you go.
Yeah, so Babette gets up and goes into the room.
Open study lined with bookshelves, globes, traditional posh rugs, and comfortable couch on one end, but at the other end there's this ornate carved desk with two wooden chairs on the other end of it, and they're leather padded. Other end is the still standing Lions Guard captain, swooped blonde hair and golden pauldron in the shape of a lion with a little cape coming off the side of it, and he's got a hand out pointing towards the right chair. And he says, "Please, good seat."
And Babette does, with a nice Alvalian bow.
And he sits down at the same time as you, doing his own kind of bow at the same moment, and he places his hands flat on top of the desk in front of him, and says, "We'll try not to make this one last too long. You and your friends have been here for quite some time. I would very much like to thank you first for that."
It was the right thing to do.
And stepping up to do the right thing does seem to be a theme of your particular. Quite heroic of you. I wanted to make sure that I got that out of the way before we moved on to the actual formality.
Mm-hmm.
He takes his hands off the desk, flipping open this notebook, this leather ledger, and he reaches aside and grabs this nice ornate quill and dips it in the ink, and eyes level up with yours as he says, "So, your particular group was not originally at the same time. A little happy circumstance that I'm certain we're all quite grateful for. You were there attending a wedding?"
Well, the wedding did indeed happen while I was there.
But it was not the original intent of this.
Yes, we had spent some time vacationing in... Rachel is blanking on the name of the ghost... The ghost spa. The ghost spa.
The ghost spa, yes. You just call it the ghost spa in Budapest.
Baudevert, that was it. Yeah. And we decided to introduce Zale to the wonders of gambling. And shit went sideways eventually.
It seems he had quite a lucky streak and ended up with a shotgun wedding to definitely remember.
Indeed he did. I wasn't necessarily there for the wedding, though.
You were currently indisposed?
Yes, I was
Does it
finding out through complete accident some information about this place that was, or this group that was attempting to load this casino.
And this group, did you have any past experiences with dealing with them?
I had not.
And to your experience, does this group, the Stars and Sea Society, they have any experience with this?
Not that I have heard of, no.
And what is your knowledge of the experiences of the Stars and Sea Society?
My knowledge of their experience would be that they tend to find themselves in extraordinary situations and manage to get out in a relatively honorable way.
Relatively honorable.
That's just me not knowing of their entire catalog of exploits. From what I've experienced, they are honorable to a fault.
So you would be newly acquainted with this group.
Yes.
You've been seen in their company since their arrival in Arvale.
Yes, and as an Auvale native, I did not get to experience their particular brand of adventuring until they arrived.
And they arrived from the Coterie Coast?
That's what I've been told.
Well, very well. Writes for a moment longer, and his eyes kind of move down away from you for a moment. He nods, and without looking up, he goes, "And your employ while here in Arvale, is it as a tour guide traditionally?"
That's what I
Still
would
writing.
be. Yeah, that's what I would be for this particular group, yes. I'm also visiting, or I've reunited with an old friend, and, it's nice to spend time with them as well. I did not realize that she had joined this group.
Very well. I do hope that you've been giving them a good tour of Hearthvine.
Honestly, What was that?
And he just looks up.
Was he trying to say something with that sentence?
Give me an inside check.
Come on, internet. I believe in you.
You remember your modifier?
$15. $16. I can't count.
You get the feeling that he has an idea of what your business and work actually is.
Mm-hmm.
And that by giving them a tour, he was very really trying to be like, I know what you do. I know who you is. Without saying it.
Yeah, but trying to say it politely.
Yeah, trying to say it politely and also not on the record.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was giving them a tour in my off hours.
Well, I do hope that you manage to keep them coming out of this with a very good impression of our good country. We could use more people like the Stars and Sea Society here. He closes the ledger and says, I think that serves all the questions that we really need. No need to press further in this. I would rather be looking a gift horse in the mouth, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
He stands up.
Babette stands up and graciously bows and leaves the room.
I wouldn't bother leaving yet, actually. But if you could open the door and shout out for Beatrice to give a yell for the others. I'd like to speak to all of you at once.
Ah, of course. Beatrice, if you could call in the others.
Corporal, Beatrice, and she opens the door and holds it open for the rest of you all and says, everyone in. Captain will see you.
Walk in.
Mm-hmm. Kind of does a small tip up to the ground because she was laying down at this point, and then she just walks in.
He walks around the desk and first gives a handshake to you, Babette, as you kind of like come back up from your bow, and she shouts for everyone to come in. And he walks to each of you as you come in, shaking your hands, and gestures to the couches on the other end and says, "Please, please. I would like to discuss the matter of your reward and payment for these things now that we've gotten that nasty business out of the way."
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
Yep. And it will standard, very polite sitting fashion.
Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna cross over there.
He sits down in this kind of two-seated couch on the other side, like a little love seat. Both of them are this like deep, dark leather, but otherwise rather simple. It's not very gaudy in here compared to a lot of the rest of the Alvalian stuff. And he sits down the opposite end of this little glass coffee table that's got inset within it a map of the entire sovereign states, actually. And he says, "Corporal, if you could please, some tea." And she puts a hand to her chest, gives a bow, walks out. And as you each get settled, he sweeps his cape up over the top of his lap, sits down on the opposite end, and he says, "You did quite a heroic feat, and the Crown, of course, would like to recognize that. Many of the other sovereign states had people that were saved in this initiative, and the Crown is placing a forward trust on the idea that they'll be able to convince the other states to match what they, to pay into what they are fronting here. And that way, you don't have to worry about those finer details. The Crown always likes to reward heroic efforts."
Anu nods slowly and just blinks a few times. Okay.
Don't know.
Of course, thought of what an appropriate reward would be. We looked over several of the assets that were taken, and the airships and boats that remained, we have decided are yours. The Misfit, as it stands, and all the property on it are now the property of the Stars and Seas Society. He opens up a portfolio laying on the coffee table, and he goes, "It was already placed over, and the paperwork is already drawn. This is your copy." You can see the stamp of the Crown, flourish of a hand signature from Adelaide.
Anu will take it since she is the first mate. She just glances it over. Does it include the Mecca?
As it stands, the wording on it says everything that was on the airship, and it doesn't have a full catalog of everything that was on the airship. So, it seems that, yeah. Unless they've taken it off in the time since.
Yep, she'll just fold
It's
it
now
up.
your property.
She'll fold it up and give a gracious bow.
And of course, there is the price of how much you are being fronted in a reward from the sovereign states. The Crown has decided that this is an appropriate sum. And they open up another portfolio over on their left, and it's got a lot of technical jargon going in there. It cites like some old like Avalonian laws and stuff. You're not certain what half of it's referencing, but it tallies them all up into the end to say that essentially you've earned a full amount of there we go. $443,520 gold.
Shit.
Woohoo.
Shit. That's not okay, dude. We'll keep that. Oh, fuck.
Alright, she's scratching her chin like she knows what she's reading and makes those kind of course that law, how could I forget? And then,
Don't actually look at it.
You could give me an intelligence check, so
Okay.
Would Babette know any of this technical jargon? Like, would it have been something she would come across, or?
I mean, as much as anybody would, but not really enough to be able to, without having done proficiency in it. They only gets it because he's got a stupid high intelligence, so.
Because he's a nerd.
Yeah.
15.
15. Looking it over, you can tell that each of the sections is outlined based off of there are essentially like old standing guild reward types, and the one that seems to have earned you the most amount of money on it is the fact that there were some people of nobility actually there. And that particular citation actually essentially quadrupled the amount of money that you were making just from the fact that there were nobles there when you saved it. They definitely, you could tell that looking at this, they categorized how people's lives were worth on that place. And it's a little unnerving to read it out paperwork like that. But
yeah,
clearly got rewarded more for some people than other people. And,
there's definitely like honestly definitely a flash of kind of like comfort, yeah. But those reading it,
yeah, she glances over momentarily, and then she goes back to playing elevator music in her mind as she's just looking at these words and numbers like, okay. Then she'll cough very politely and put it in her bag.
they'll get back in.
the Griffin Master and his griffins are now currently under the employ of the Crown. We have found a significant use for them on the war front. Towards that end, we would actually like to open up a contract with the Stars and Sea Society. Of course, it is nothing that you need to do at the current time. War contracts are not achieved through job boards like traditional adventuring companies. They're only achieved through contracts like this one. And in the middle, he opens up the final of these 3 portfolios, and you can see that this one is like fancy filigreed calligraphy and shit going on with it. They must have expensive inks for this one. At the bottom, it's already signed by the Queen. If you were to sign this, then, upon returning it to us, you would find yourself underneath the contract of the Crown for war efforts. This means that we could call upon your aid on particular fronts. We have a great need for soldiers on the front line now that the war has found itself to the sovereign states. Elum has declared itself allied with Omedo, and we are facing already fire lines in the buffer states between us and the Elum.
If you don't mind, may I read it over?
This is an open contract. You need not sign this now or ever. In fact, open contracts like this are quite rare. Shows that the Queen must have a high value for you.
The nods at that. I think. It's an honor, thank you. Thank the Queen as well.
You can see on it, as you see it, it says that your group would get a monthly stipend as a group of 450,000 gold every month, just for being on contract.
My God. There's like built on material, but then he's definitely like, that's a lot of money. They really want us. It's basically what he's going through his head right now. It's like,
Yeah,
damn,
but
they
then
really want us.
you would be
Arthur
allied.
takes the contract and looks through it as well, and he's just like, low whistles. Passes it back to Babette. Lets you like get a look at it too.
There's like a brief moment of like just under her breath, holy shit.
Yeah.
We just got 440,000 just right now.
She Honey glances over there, and her expression has been stoic since bringing up contracts, and it just gets even more emotionless. She just glances at it and then looks forward at the wall. I will bring this up to all. We could take it from there. But, is it gonna be like, are we gonna be able to take it with us, or do we just come back?
Oh,
say
and you
we're
get to take it with you.
Okay. She will stare at it a little bit further and just reach out her hand for it, and then slip it back into her bag
Yep.
with the other things.
Gets kind of passed around through the group, and then again makes its way back to Hanu, and as you stow it away, Arthur like sets his cup of tea down on the table as the other person stands up, and you guys are then escorted out by the bald-headed Lion's Guard, Corporal Beatrice. Make your way back out there. Sarah, I will send you some stuff about what you find with that roll of yours, because it's a lot. But essentially, you know everything there is to know about witch myths in Avale now.
Nice.
Every witch who has ever witched in Avale, you know about them now.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
That's how it gets out.
Which is useful because one of the things that you found that might be a lead for you to find information on a particular witch, because you don't. So many witch stories, you realize that reading about it in a library isn't going to get you anywhere. Witches, by nature, are the ones that weren't in the libraries or allowed there, right? So witches are the spellcasters that people that spend times in libraries talked shit about, right, and persecuted. And so you got through all of it and realized very quickly that there was an inherent bias in everything you were reading, right? But you did manage to piece together enough disparate information, even within all these biased sources, to figure out a clue for being able to contact some actual witches for more information.
Hey.
You have a lead. There's actually a secret market for witches here in Auvale, which some people refer to as the Witch Street. You know that it's usually traditionally hard for non-witches to be able to find, but you've got some ideas on how to be able to find it, and I will send that stuff to you.
But this is Eliza, so.
With Eliza, yeah. You will find a good lead on how to find witches in Hearthvine.
Alright, I will glance over at Babette. Like, do you have a way to contact Eliza? Should we just...
She would have been there after you guys got done. You guys just got done doing a good 2 hours of interviews.
Yeah.
Mhm.
She's already back from her thing and is sitting out in the car waiting for you guys up.
I'll say that as we leave, and then I look, oh, okay. Oh, she has a better sense of time than... Looks over to Zale. You do. She starts walking down the stairs.
That was just like struck to that point. That is a, and he brings up, that is a lot of fucking money.
Yes, it is.
And especially just on the contract as well. Though, I don't know how I know how how the world works, but it does feel a little shitty that basically it got quadrupled because of us saving the nobles.
Of fucking course.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, some of those nobles probably lead kingdoms. You know how people are.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's good. It gives lots, a lot of money that we could do good with. So.
Yeah, we can at least make sure our current employees are comfortably paid for.
Yeah. Speaking of which, did I overhear you saying something about hiring the guards from Griffin's Perch?
Glances.
Wait,
She just narrows
did?
her eyes. Yeah, what of it?
I don't know. I was just. Is that something we're doing? We hiring people?
I mean,
I can see that it might be a good idea to kind of start, filling out the Stars and Seas Society.
yeah, there's different branches.
Filling out the Stars and Seas Society. Yeah, you guys are nothing like the other ones.
Well, you have the main constellations, but there are so many stars in the sky. Wouldn't it be stars and seas if it's just the brightest ones?
And I have a feeling that have our own organization that do what's our own, and it's kind of a not governed by any other country would be good to have.
I want us to be independent, which is why the second contract makes me feel extremely uncomfortable.
Exactly.
But
Oh, you guys want to go
If
the
you've got-
route?
If there's like 20-something people relying on us for paychecks, how independent are we actually?
they're free to do what jobs they need to be done. The war thing, though, makes it concerning on many fronts.
It would.
Well, I mean, what are they signing up for? Because if they're signing up to go to war, I mean, think about it. How much does it cost to go to war?
She will give the specific amount stated in the Art of War of Xiaolan. And that was, inflation-wise, so many years ago. War is expensive And that's why you need to make sure you either put all in or not. But sure, there's war out there. There's a lot of good to be done in a country that is sending its soldiers to fight. I kind of actually just want us to make maybe an organization of fighters and healers that go there to help people out with the natural disasters and events like this. There's always going to be people who are in need.
Yeah, not much, I think, in a way. Not much. We fight wars, we fight the things that are even above war.
I know.
The actual monsters, the actual enemies of actually the world.
There's going to be a lot of slaughter, be it by kindred or be it by non-kindred forces. I want us to be able to at least help the world heal as a result.
Yeah.
I know this sounds weird coming from me, but I don't... War is just the smallest part of conflict. It's a result of something. And a lot of people miss out on the suffering in between. There's not just soldiers that fight, it's the civilians that experience war too. Occupation. Watching loved ones come and go, watching villages get smaller and smaller.
In a way, what is it? The idea I think you're going with, I think I'm understanding, Han, is, and I kind of agree. I think running an organization that not just handles big threats, but also the domestic, the little small ones, the rebuildments of after war,
Yeah,
after a battle,
exactly.
to be there for not just the kingdom itself, but the actual people that live within it.
You can't buy loyalty, and you can't buy respect, even though some might try to.
Yeah.
So no. I am extremely hesitant in even glancing at the second contract. That's just
Yeah, it definitely seems like they really want to fight in their war. And
Yeah, I mean, domestic is nice and all, but right now the war is happening in somebody else's domestic.
Mm-hmm.
About those people.
Exactly.
it,
We can make no money fighting giants and goblins here. Or we can make 450,000 a month fighting people often middle of a country that's getting torn to shreds right now by something that has absolutely nothing to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a way where we'll have to. I definitely want to do a little more research on it and see if it's not we're stuck in it later on.
There's a second part of this that we're not getting. Which makes me
I want to research.
uncomfortable. I
I want to
don't...
research more about it because I don't want us to get locked into something later on that we cannot back out of. I know that's been the case maybe in another timeline, but if once we steep our hand in any direction, be it independence on one side or the other side, or joining in the war, we're gonna make a lasting impression. A damn lasting impression. And you have to, and then that way, we have to decide who we're gonna be the heroes of. The world, or a select few countries. Because in any case, if we join the war, we're gonna be the heroes and the villains. No matter how good we do go with the war.
One side is gonna always claim we didn't listen to their voice.
Exactly. So, I'm not saying it's a bad idea, Arthur. Not. Logically speaking, is down contract.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, if we're taking on a bunch of people, it's gonna cost, like, what? Probably at least a half or a quarter of whatever that contract is every month just to pay them.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a lot harder to find work for them here than it is to just take the contract.
Well,
They said for us to be on contract. Doesn't even mean that we're fighting on the front lines. It just means call us when they need us, as far as I could tell.
well, that can be
That's the
international,
case.
but also civil.
Yeah.
I don't know what that would entail after.
You do have the contract. It is several pages long. It would require you to
Yeah,
read through it over the next several days.
Yeah.
Yes, you can read through it and get a good overview of it, but it's definitely not something that was a sit there and read through it kind of thing.
Exactly, yeah, that's why she's just
Yeah.
showing his
It was a
hands.
glance over for Zell. Zell was glancing over, but he's not reading through that. He's gonna read for that later.
Yep,
Because
I
you can
had
look in detail.
told the lieutenant that we could try to talk it through. If we need to, as a group, I will discuss this further with Starman, but if we need to back out of it, that promise, then I will.
Keep things in mind.
Of course.
But it's definitely, I think you have a. I think we have a good. I think you have a good idea on it. Of where, honestly, we should take probably our future. Okay.
Right.
I don't know what we're gonna do. What's my plan with the money right now?
We don't
So
even-
kind of like, tackles. I don't even know what to do in that much.
I don't even know how much we have in the bank for what Victor set up.
Don't even know either. That's what we gotta check out too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's things we gotta. If we're definitely keen on this, there's definitely things we gotta take care of. Our assets and our building blocks of our organization, our society.
Yeah.
Definitely need to do some work on it. Get it back in operation. Find out what we need. Find out what we have.
Exactly.
And who allies do we have, and what enemies we do have. Well, but
That
in due
bet.
time.
Babette goes into the car and sits down next to Eliza and says, "You guys are fucking rich now."
What? Rich?
Yep, there was a
What?
reward for there was a reward for us saving all of those people. Your guild is has a lot of money now.
No, well, I mean, shouldn't it be your guys' money?
It was all done in the name of the Stars and Seas Society, so
Uh-huh. I don't know. Cool.
I'm like coming for the really rich girl. Like,
yeah.
I know,
Kind of stiffly walks into the car. And doesn't say anything for the rest of the day.
And so kind of it's in a car. Well, we do have the thing for Frederick, right? Did we set up a time? I think he set up a time. Actually,
It
I have
was
to keep in mind.
noon, right?
It was
I think it
noon.
was noon. I have to keep in mind. Yeah, it was noon. What time is it right now?
It is currently about 11. You guys arrived there around 9. you had your breakfast and stuff around 6:30, 7 o'clock was when you guys left.
Gotcha. Okay. So
Went
then,
shopping and stuff, got clothes, then ended up getting there, and then you sat there waiting for the first several interviews, and then you started y'all's interviews around 9, and then it's currently 11 a.m.
Sarah, Eliza, speed!
And you managed to make it there in time. Take the road. You take the road south
Because
across
Zarman wasn't in that car ride.
Oh yeah, we would.
that's what I'm saying. They take the road south, heading towards the village. First, you kind of pass by the bridge that passes through the guild district. So you actually pass by the atrium, with its kind of greenhouse look and all the trees growing on the inside of it. And you follow the road south past the platform where your old apartment was. There's like a whole crime scene set up around it now, and pass underneath like the shade of more of these floating islands over your head, and the island passes out from over you, and the sun comes in once more as you kind of arrive outside of Dee's place, and one of you runs up and knocks on the door, and the rest of you can pretty much probably have piled out, and then there would probably just be Babette and Eliza and Zarman and Zael, as she just to drop you off, and Mont Noblesse. You can see the hospital rising up ahead of you, and then the walls outside of his gothic kind of row home. And as you get out of her car and open the door, the gates in front of Willow's Dirge creak open, and we'll pick up and do that tomorrow, guys, because it's too late for me to do Frederick
it's like
shit.
12:30 for your ass.
Yeah.
So you're like, no,
Would
Yeah, Frederick has to say smart guy stuff, and I'm too brain dead to be smart guy.
Goodness fucking gracious, 440.
we still need to figure out how much is even in the bank account.
I know, that's what I was saying. We
Is
don't even know.